Another test. What's up everybody, Ilya Marchenko here and I'm a professional tennis player. 2020 was really rough for everybody, but especially rough for our noses. After the season restart, all those testings have become a new normal. For those who are not familiar with this procedure, it is very comfortable. They just take a little swab from the edge of your nose. Yeah, you wish. They take a stick like this, not this one, but similar, and trying to make a hole inside your brain. And all that with a huge smile. I have a feeling they really love their job. Just look at that smiley face. I didn't really count the amount of the test I've been through, but I can tell you, it was a lot. I was injured at the beginning, so most of the guys have taken even more. We've been tested every week we play, and during some periods I was tested even 3 times. So in this video you'll find out about all those testing protocols at challengers and some stories from my colleagues, tennis players. They were trying different things at the beginning, but for the last couple of months it was this way. All players and their guests have to come to the tournament with a negative PCR test, either from the previous tournament or from a respected laboratory. And only one guest per player is allowed, so some players had to choose wisely. Main draw players need the test not earlier than Wednesday, for qualification players not earlier than Monday is enough. Every tournament has testings on Monday and Thursday. All players still in the draw plus their guests are obligated to be tested, and those who has lost but still want to take a test for whatever reason for the next tournament, going back home or even self-satisfaction.
How deep would you make it?
Very deep.
Good. I like it deep.
All those folks can take a test at the tournaments for free. Well, it's not actually free, somebody definitely pays for it, but that's not us. And in case of any positive test results, disqualification from the tournament, plus a bonus, which is decided by the local health authorities. Sometimes they just send you back home, those who had come by car mostly. Sometimes you have to stay quarantined at your hotel room, perhaps 1 week like my friend Sergey in Bratislava.
Hi, I'm Sergey Stahovsky, and I'm pretty sure if you watch Ilya Marchenko's channel, you've seen me already once, at least. We all know that 2020 was a rubbish year and everybody would love to forget it, but to us, we were trying to use every chance we have to compete. And that comes with some unpleasantries of testing permanently. And I was actually pretty good enduring the virus, but in November, I actually fell into it. So in Bratislava, we had to do the 2 tests. It was a governmental order, not really the ATP, and they shifted it from Saturday to do it on Friday. So when we arrived, the whole qualification part, because I was, I think, a couple of out, we were scheduled to do a test 1. It was 2 groups, 1 on Friday, 1 on Saturday. So I did the Friday test before afternoon. And I got into the main draw, so I didn't play the next day. But the matches were shifted from the 10 a.m. start to 2 p.m. start. And all of the guys who were doing the test in the afternoon on Friday, they got to redo their test because of some problems, which was interesting. So when the Thursday testing day arrived, I decided to double check myself. So I did 2 tests. I didn't have any symptoms. I was feeling the smell. I had a little running nose already coming into Bratislava, which was lasting already 10 days before. So I got 2 tests arriving on Thursday evening, which were contradicting each other. One was positive from the laboratory which was assigned by the ATP, and one which was from a different laboratory, a private one. I did it because I wasn't sure, because of the Friday afternoon testing problems. I saw that I could better have 2. Well, I got positive, so the ATP was, of course, pulling me out. And I told them, look, please give me a chance. I want to do another test in the morning. The laboratory is right there. They will have the test back in 4 hours. And then we're for sure, because I have no symptoms and I don't feel like I have a COVID. So the ATP, of course, refused. And I said, okay, I'm going to do it by myself. I'm going to pay for the test. It's not a problem. I just want to be sure that I actually have it. Of course, they were not happy. They were trying to persuade me in all the ways to stay in the room. You know, I should not leave the room. I have a COVID. I should stay. I'm not allowed to leave. I cannot do the second test. I said, well, okay, you cannot restrict me from leaving if I'm going for a COVID test. This is legally not a problem, so I could legally do it. And I did it, so I wake up early in the morning, I wake up at 7. By 8 I was already tested. My match was scheduled to be first on at 11, so of course they pulled me out. But they were pretty nervous waiting for my result, because if that result became negative, it would be kind of a tricky situation for them. But it came positive, and that evening after basically of the second test, I actually started to feel symptoms. I had started to have some fever, I started to feel weak, and over the night it was pretty brutal. Well, what happened is that I was in Bratislava, I was quarantined for 7 days. Basically, I have an official paper which stated that I had to be there a bit longer, but if I am able to produce a negative test before that and I don't have symptoms, then I am allowed to try another test. I think I could run away. I could, just sit in the car and drive 2 hours into Budapest and stay in quarantine at home, but that would be just a bit not right to do by the organization which is trying to put some tournaments in, and not right, let's say, for the Tennis Federation of Slovakia, which is trying to stage an event. They get all this permission to run an event, and then some of the players just walk on their regulation, and then it doesn't look any good in terms of governmental policies for next time they want to do a tournament. So I was locked in a room. The problem with the room was there was a window which was only opening by ventilation, so I didn't see a fresh air. I couldn't stick my head out, and that was, I think, the most challenging part. The fun part was when they were delivering the food in my room. They would leave the food in front of the door. I would hear them leaving the food, but then they would run downstairs and ring me up and say, "Your food is in front door." They wouldn't even stay, they wouldn't even knock. I felt like I have Ebola, not COVID. I had a doctor visit me twice to see how I'm doing, which was good. I was reaching out, the ATP was reaching out to me, seeing what's going on, but because I speak the language and because it's my native city, I was okay. I got some friends delivering me some food, so that was all good. But basically, I was able to produce from the moment I got a positive test, which was second confirmation was Friday morning. I got a negative test on Thursday afternoon. I had already negative test. So it was a very short period. I had 4 brutal days where I was pretty weak and I couldn't really get off the bed. But after that, everything seems to move away, and I actually lost my sense of smell for about a month. But in general, it's not a great experience. I hope none of you will get it, but be careful. Take the social distance. That's it.
We can only imagine how bored he was. At least his wine stock has helped him to kill some time. But 1 week is nothing compared to what Constant Lysien had to face. And here is his story.
I heard Ilya was talking about me, so I decided to tell you the story myself. I was playing the Challenger in Parma in Italy, and I won my first round, and then I tested positive COVID-19. So I went in my room, I waited 2 days, then they called me, and then they told me that I had to stay 10 days in my room, and after 10 days I was able to make a second test. If this test turns out negative, then I can just go home. So I waited 10 days in the room. That was long. About my symptoms, everything was okay. I just had some fever and I lost the taste and the smell, but I was okay. The first 7 days I didn't do anything in the room. I was just staying in the bed, and then I started to do some sport in the room because I wanted to stay a little bit fit, and I was getting so bored that I had to do something. So I was practicing with my cards, watching some DVDs, watching Netflix, taking 2 baths a day. I was trying to find some things to do, but that was really long. The hotel we were staying at didn't have a restaurant for lunch, so they were bringing me, ham and a salad every day. So I couldn't eat for lunch, but at the evening they were making some pasta, so it was correct. But as a sportsman, it was very difficult, to follow this kind of regime, eating ham and bread, And after 10 days, they make a test, and I had to wait 5 days to get the results of this first test. After 15 days, the test was still positive, so they asked me to stay 21 days without being tested one more time. I was using the phone, trying to reach people from the ATP, to have some, you know, to try to escape in a legal way. I decided to make a test with a private laboratory. After 16 days, they came from Milano, they make a test, and I got the result 2 days later, and it was still positive. So then I had to stay until the end. I really went crazy, and I needed to find a solution to escape. I couldn't stay longer in the room. A friend of mine who was working in Italy advised me to order an ambulance, special COVID. So it's like, you know, they make all the procedure to keep you close from anybody. And this ambulance was really expensive. They came, pick me at my hotel, and they drove me at the border in Chamonix. It was like 4 hours to go in Chamonix, and then like 10 hours of car with my mom to reach Paris. The ATP covered my cost of the hotel and the food, so this was nice. What I was really angry at was that I could take this ambulance the first day. It was everything legal, but nobody told me that I could do that, you know. So I stayed really 18 days in my room in Italy, doing nothing just because nobody told me that I could do that. So I was really upset with everybody, because in this kind of moments you realize that only your family and your close friends really care about you, and all the system around, you know, they were just trying to help me, but it didn't work, because no one had experienced that in Italy. So yeah, I was really disappointed. So that was my story with the COVID on the tennis circuit. So I hope that it will not happen to you guys. Bye.
Wow, it's so cool that Constant has decided to tell his story himself. No idea how he had found out that I was talking about him, but he is a great magician, so he probably just used his powers.
Expecto Patronum!
To be honest, I actually doubt he has spent all those 18 days inside that hotel, considering his abilities. Anyway, his story was pretty rough, and I'm really sorry for Constant. But life goes on, so does my video. And the partner of today's video is Topcourt. Use my affiliate link so I can make some cash. PCR tests are the most reliable test for COVID-19 right now. But not everything works smoothly, even with them. There were many weird situations on the Challenger Tour in 2020. Like some players were tested positive at tournaments, disqualified, then went back home, made another test and went negative. Then some guys who have had the disease already were getting random positive results afterwards, so ATP allowed them not to take tests for some time. But then some countries didn't accept that and were forcing those players to take tests anyway, hence more positive test results again, and of course more disqualifications. I've actually passed one round because of that. What a crazy world we live in today. Hopefully 2021 won't be that ruthless, at least for our noses. And that's it for today. Like this video if you want to see things get back to normal. Subscribe, because in my next video I will tell you more about testing protocols at ATPs and Grand Slams. In any case, thanks for watching and see you next time.